Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to start writing a book. The book writing journey is a struggle. It is hard, but sticking with it and finishing your book is such an amazing feeling. By the end of this video, you will learn how to unlock your book's purpose and message, and how to figure out which writing process works best for you. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a resource I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. I know this video is about how to start writing a book, but let's back up a little bit. Before you start writing a book, before you put one word on the page, I want you to explore inside yourself. Figure out your purpose for writing this book. Why do you want to write this book? What's motivating you? What's fueling you inside? It can be anything. It can be a desire to write a book. It can be a family legacy thing. You can be motivated by so many different things. It could be an internal goal for yourself, just a personal goal of writing a book. It could be a legacy project for your family. There's so many different reasons, good reasons, awesome reasons why you can write a book and why you should write a book. I just want you to understand what that is at the beginning of this process, because if you understand what your purpose is, if you understand your motivations for writing the book, and you understand the why behind it, why this means so much to you, it's going to help you keep going amid all the ups and downs, amid all the struggles. Again, this process is hard, and it's going to challenge you at every turn. So you really want to understand what's driving you inside to keep going, why you stay motivated for this, what fuels you, what you want to take out of this. The better that you can tap into that, the better you can understand your purpose, the better this process is going to be. Otherwise, you're going to face challenges and doubts, and you're going to want to give up. I've worked with people who've given up on writing their book, and it's always a disappointing thing. You think about the books left unwritten, you think about the things left unsaid, and what kind of impact those things could have for other people and for the authors themselves. There's so much power in our words and our stories, and by failing to bring them forward and publish them and share them, we're depriving others and ourselves the ability to see the power of that come to life. So once you tapped into that motivation and understand your fuel, think about the book message. Think about what you're trying to say. What do you want to accomplish? Not just about what's fueling you, but what do you want to share in your book? What's the message? A strong message is really going to help keep you grounded and moving forward on this. If you really don't know what the book is about, you're going to have a tough time. You're going to have a struggle. When somebody asks you what your book is about, you want to have a really clear focus. One of the best things that you can do when you're thinking about it is really do research on what books are already out there. What's in the space already? What are the leading books in this topic area? Because if you can figure that out, and you can figure out what people are already reading, you can avoid being that ripoff and being something different. And on top of that, you can find what your uniqueness is. What is your positioning within the marketplace already? Where does your book fit where nothing else fits? Why is your book the exact right book for this space? You really need to understand that to make the most of this process. Because otherwise, you're liable to write a book that's pretty much already been written or repeat something else. You don't want to be a book that's redundant. You don't want to go to Amazon and see people leaving reviews of, oh, this book was okay, the writing was fine, but this other book was better. Read this other book instead. You know why? Because when people read those reviews, they're going to see that, and they're going to say, I'm going to go check out that other book. You want to be the book that people write about on other people's pages and say, instead of reading this book, read this other book. You want to be the book that people point others to. When people say, have you read any good books lately? Oh, I was really moved by this thing. This changed my life. You ever hear that? This changed my life when I read this book. You want that kind of book. In order to write that kind of book, you need to really figure out what your message is and why it's different. Why it's different than anything else that's ever been written before. Now that you've done all of those things, the purpose, the message, let's talk about outlining. Outlining is so important. It is the roadmap for the entire book. Outlines can take many forms. They could be bullet points. They could be mind maps. They could be, just scribbles on a piece of paper. They could be little lines of text. They could be anything. You could have any outline that you want. Outlining can be expansive. It can be detailed. It can be succinct. It can be short. It can be anything you want it to be, but you need to have a roadmap before you get started. Otherwise, you're liable to waste a lot of time writing the book and writing things that might not end up in the book at all. By outlining and by mapping out where you're going with the book, it creates a higher likelihood that the writing that you do is going to be useful, that it's actually going to be in the book. The worst feeling in the world, maybe not the worst feeling totally in the world, but the worst feeling in terms of book writing is writing a ton of text and then saying, this has nothing to do with the book. I'm writing a different book completely, and now I have to scrap all this stuff. Now I have to throw all this writing aside, and it doesn't go in the book. You've just been, treading water and wasting time when you could have been writing stuff that actually goes into the book. And you want to focus on what's going into the book, not other stuff that may or may not be related. Figure out what the frame of the book is and what's inside the frame and outside of the frame. That's not to say that you can't explore outside of the frame, but you want to know what's inside the book ahead of time because it's going to help direct you in the right direction. Projects I've worked on that have been very difficult and challenging, some of the most challenging projects that I've worked on involved dozens, if not hundreds of chapters, and they were short chapters, but still, some of these projects are really detailed and involved, and by me tracking the chapters in the outline and tracking what had been written and not written, I could make more efficient use of my time in recognizing where I needed to spend my energy. If I knew that section 5 was pretty much done, I was going to avoid that. Then I could move to section 6 because I had some chapters to write in section 6. So I could jump to section 6 and focus my attention and energy on the things that mattered. Without that roadmap, without that outline, you're just aimlessly floating along, and you could hit some important things, but maybe you miss out. You think about this entire video so far, we haven't talked about writing. I think of writing as this iceberg that's 7/8 underwater. And great writing feels like that. There's a lot of planning and forethought and effort. These words were positioned perfectly. But in order to get to that point, you really need to put yourself in the right position first. Once you've done that, once you've done all these other things, now you can really dive into the writing process. The writing process can be so much fun to explore the space of the story. It can be so exciting and exhilarating to unlock the power in the words, in the message itself. I love the writing process. I love exploring it from different avenues. Sometimes that could be sitting at the keyboard and typing. Other times I might just record myself on audio. I might go for a walk or go for a drive and record myself talking about different areas of the book. And I will then take that audio and turn it into text, automatic text to transcription, and now I have a bunch of text to work with. It's great when you have that text you can fill in and say, okay, well now I have text on this, let me shape it, let me mold it, let me work it into a draft. And you can keep going at that again and again and again. It's the best way to make great progress. With the writing process, it's really about getting the words down however you can in the most efficient, cleanest way possible. Whether that means sitting and writing, whether that means doing a writing sprint and just getting as much out of your mind as you can, whether that's talking through it and then using the automatic text-to transcription. It's just about doing whatever works for you. Because this process is a journey. This process is the struggle. You want to take as many elements of friction out of the process as you can. The more friction, the more problems, the more difficulties that you face in the writing process, the easier it's going to be to give up. Whether that means cutting out digital distractions, whether that means setting aside time at a consistent schedule each week, whether that means finding the mode of writing that works best for you. Think about taking away the friction. Think about making this as easy as possible and sticking with it. Consistency is the key to a great book. It's not about these great flourishes of writing. It's about being consistent and showing up and doing the work. If you can do it every week, every day, whatever the case may be, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the case may be, if you can keep making consistent progress and focus your attention based on the outline, you're going to eventually have success. I've written and ghostwritten dozens of books, and some of them feel insurmountable when we first start. Some of them feel out of reach, like they're not going to happen. And they happen somehow. Sometimes it's magic, but it's just so special to see it happen week by week, and you start to build momentum and you start believing it. And then a couple more weeks go by, and the writing gets stronger and stronger, and you find the story. Because a lot of times, the outline itself is not going to be able to get you there. It's about unlocking the pieces as you go along. It's about the journey itself. I love the journey itself. I love exploring it, but it's a contained exploration. You know, it's being smart and putting these parameters up. So the more that you can do in setting good parameters and setting good ground rules, and in being smart about your writing process and getting rid of those friction points, it's going to help you on your way. I know it's challenging, and I know it's a lot to write a book. It is one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. It is so difficult, especially when you're coming at it from this new perspective, where every element of it is new. It's so scary to write a book, and it's so challenging to write a book. But stick with it. There is so much opportunity. There's so much transformation. There's so much awesomeness that can be on the opposite side of that book when you have it published, when you can hand it to somebody. It's such a special thing, and it's so unique in a way. It's like nothing else that I can even compare it to. Stick with it. Stick with it. Believe in your story. If you've done this groundwork and if you've set good writing goals for yourself, you can make this happen. Just believe in it. Believe in your story. Believe in your message. So many authors I meet with have these insecurities and doubts. They have imposter syndrome. They feel like maybe I'm not the right person to write this book. Bogus. I'm saying no to that. You are the right person to write this book because this is your book and this is your story, and you get to write it in the best, most powerful way possible. And no one else can write the story that you can write. So stop gauging yourself against everybody else, self-judging yourself against everybody else. Focus on the story that you have inside of you and making it as strong as possible. And there's so much awesomeness that can come from that. If you want to learn more about how to start writing a book, there's another video I think you should really check out. A different video I recorded I think could be helpful for you. It's called Why I Should Write a Book. We covered the how in this video. That covers the why. And that really covers all of the benefits that can come from book writing. There's so many benefits and rewards and opportunities, and I dive deeper into those in that video. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.